Thank you for listening to the Ask AI podcast. To get our latest episodes, AI news, discount codes for events, and links to free resources, sign up to our monthly newsletter by visiting askai.org and clicking the subscribe link. That's askai.org.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask AI podcast. Today, we are hosting Sarah Stockdale, and I'm very excited to talk to Sarah because she is a founder of Growclass, which is a growth marketing certification and AI training platform. Sarah is also a big champion of women in tech, and she co-leads AI Skills Lab Canada, which is a program designed for women, non-binary, trans femme founders to upskill and use AI to build successful businesses. Sarah is also a podcaster, all kinds of excitement. Welcome, Sarah. I'm so happy to have a champion of women in tech on the podcast. And of course, with that, there is a question. We will think, and stats actually show that women, unfortunately, are adopting AI slower than men. Is that the case? And what do you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Women are adopting AI 25% slower than men are. And they have really good reasons to do that, right? Women are concerned with copyright infringement, with cheating, with environmental concerns with AI. We're also not receiving a lot of support and training from employers. Only, I think it's like 15% of Canadians have received any training at all in AI. So there's a lot of incredibly valid reasons why women may not want to touch these technologies, but that's going to open up an AI adoption gap with women and men. And so we're looking at how can we find ways that are values aligned, that focus on some of the unique challenges that women face in the workplace to help them adopt these tools in ways that feel good for their businesses.
Yeah, it's very interesting you bring it up, right? We start with less women in tech to begin with, right? Now the AI adoption delay creates a gap. And then what's going to be in the future? What do you think? How would that project in the future career and development of women in AI now?
Yes, there's a couple of huge challenges, right? It's a productivity challenge. We know these tools can take away administrative tasks. They can make your roles at work more interesting by taking away some of the more boring parts and automating away some of the things that you have to do every day. These tools are also 3 times more likely to take a woman's job than a man's job. Women statistically, have a lot of roles in administration, customer support, marketing, places where these tools are starting to impact first. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be impacting other roles over time, but these are the places that we're seeing these tools kind of infiltrate first. So we've got this AI adoption gap. We're adopting it more slowly than our male counterparts, but we are also seeing a theft gap where it's more likely to steal our jobs than our male counterparts. So compounding effects of both things is we're going to see if, governments and companies don't step in and slow these trends, we are going to see new and, awful gender gaps that are going to augment just the gender wage gap that we are already working against. We are now having a role theft gap. We're now having an adoption gap. So we're just going to see compounding effects that are going to really affect women at work and our economic prosperity. Which sucks.
That makes total sense. And which sucks.
Yeah.
And do we see companies and government doing anything about it? Because right now, I think I would leave governments out of it, but the companies seem to be trying to desperately figure out what to do with it, right? So there is everybody's trying something, everybody's trying 9 different things. Let's just see what sticks, how we're going to go enterprise, right? Where in this continuum is the notion, how should we upskill our workforce? How should we upskill specifically represented workforce? What do you see?
A lot of these employers they don't know how they're going to use these tools. They don't have an AI adoption strategy for their organizations. They don't have tools chosen and vetted that they can allow their teams to play with. And they're not protecting time for folks to train, to get really solid training. And so what you're seeing is people push their workforces to use tools that they haven't given them parameters around. That could potentially be risky to those companies if they're feeding customer data into these tools or proprietary data without guardrails. And a lot of these employers, especially leadership teams in these companies, need to have a very clear AI adoption strategy, need to have clear training partners, and where there are kind of subsidies and work that they can do with government, they should be seeking that out. But they need to protect the time to train their teams. And that comes from having a very clear strategy from the top of how these tools should be implemented to help with productivity.
Absolutely. Rather than, well, you go figure it out, right? But
Go
we
nuts.
will take the savings, but you go figure it out. True. So let me ask you another question. Often mentioned in conjunction with women in tech, and that is just being a little bit shy in, lacking confidence in adopting new tools. Do you think that plays a role?
Yeah, for sure. Men historically are rewarded for cowboy behavior, for experimentation, for innovation. And women are more often penalized for taking any sort of risks in their careers, and that includes adopting new technology. And so employers need to make it clear that using these tools and using the specific tools built into their strategy is a positive thing, is something that they're going to protect time for people to just experiment and play and have kind of low stakes engagements with these tools so that they can figure out how they work and how they can make their lives and their jobs easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. So here we go. Here is the picture, right? Women adopting the AI slower. The jobs are going away, right? We are somewhat lacking confidence in trying it out. And meanwhile, the employers are running around trying to figure out what they are going to do and paying very little attention, right? So that's our reality. So here we go. Enter AI Skills Lab Canada, which you're championing. So please tell us about that work and what's the organization trying to do and how it's trying to help out this not so pretty picture.
Absolutely. So AI Skills Lab Canada is a partnership between 3 organizations. So it's led by the Forum, Camp Tech, and then Growclass are the training partners. It's funded with co-investment from Digital, which is Canada's global innovation cluster for digital technologies. And since April of this year, we've trained 103 women and non-binary entrepreneurs and business leaders in AI, in building AI adoption strategies. They're also getting their hands dirty. They're building automations. Some of them have built features for their businesses. They build a practical AI integration roadmap, and then we support them with AI coaches that walk them through how to adopt the right technologies that actually make sense for their business, not just saying, we're gonna put AI into everything because that's what the buzzy kind of headline thing is to do. It's very focused on what is working for your organization. What are the things that don't scale that you did in the early days that had a huge impact on your customers? And how do we bring AI tools in to augment the work of real people, not to replace them, but to augment the work of people to make your businesses grow faster? And it's working, which is really exciting. So our alumni, they rate their ability to set up AI systems and processes. They say that grew by 90%. Their confidence in selecting AI tools increased by 89%.
Wow.
And their understanding of ethical and regulatory concerns, which is like something that a lot of women founders really care a lot about, rose by 119%. So we're seeing really great early success with this pilot in helping women business owners bring technologies in, adopt them in ways that feel values aligned and ethical, and build productivity into their businesses with them.
That's a wow and wow and wow, because you're changing the trajectory of their businesses, and you also changing the trajectory of their careers. And instead of looking at the widening gap, you actually trying to shorten the gap and kind of move it into the future and enable this. Those 403 will speak next year. There's going to be hundreds, maybe even thousands.
There'll be
right?
thousands.
Let's hope. So, looking into the future, right? What do you think about AI's potential to create more jobs, to change our jobs, to change the nature of work? How do you see it unfolding?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid that AI is going to take their job. I think organizations that are short-sighted will try to replace some of their workers with AI. A lot of them have rolled that back already. So Klarna last year announced that they were going AI first. They laid off a lot of their customer service representatives, and then they very quickly backpedaled and hired people back because they weren't set up to succeed that way. I think AI, if you are a thoughtful, ambitious professional who's interested in upskilling and learning, these tools can make your job a lot more interesting. These tools are only as creative or smart or interesting as you are. So if you have a bank of IP, a whole lot of work that you've done before that you can train custom versions of LLMs, then you can work faster and the outputs are going to be quite good because you have IP that you trained it on. If you're just using these tools cold and just trying to prompt engineer, it's not going to be as interesting. But I see like short-sighted companies will absolutely, there'll be impacts on workforces for sure. But skilled individuals who are creative and innovative and interested in learning are going to have more interesting careers because they're going to be able to automate a lot of the administration and less exciting parts of their jobs. And I'm really excited about women entrepreneurs because we don't get a lot of funding. We get a 3% of all VC funding, I think less than that.
True.
And especially if you're an underrepresented woman, it's a fraction of a percent. And so some of the things that we would need a large workforce to do that we're often not funded to do, we can find innovative ways to resource our teams with these tools to make small teams more productive and move faster. So
Absolutely.
I'm
yeah.
excited, but I understand the fear.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, with that, we are coming to the end of our podcast. And before we close out, I would say, what would be one thing you would want our listeners to take home with them as it comes to adoption of AI?
Yeah, I think you can find tools that align with your values as much as possible. Find communities and training programs that are going to not make you feel silly or stupid for not adopting them sooner, but are going to equip you with community and tools and network that are going to help you learn faster. And it's never too late to start learning. You're not behind. You're still at the very cutting edge of these things. So even though we are seeing these gaps widen, we can either point at them or we can stop it. We can invest in these programs. We can invest our time in education. And I would just say, like, play, experiment, have fun, see what these tools are capable of. See for yourself. Don't just look at people posting their flows on LinkedIn and think, wow, I could never do that. Go and try. Go and try with something low stakes. Play around. These tools are for all of us, and we can find ways that align with our ethics that we can implement them to make our lives easier and more interesting.
Yes, very true. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being a guest on this podcast. Thank you for being the champion of women in tech, of AI for women. You're doing amazing work. And I'm very much hoping to see thousands and tens of thousands of women upskilled next year. So I hope we get to talk again.
Thank you so much, Elena. It was lovely
Thank
to
you.
chat with you.
Thanks for tuning in to Ask AI, your guide to spotting opportunities and navigating challenges in the era of artificial intelligence. Since 2017, our independent nonprofit has brought together experts, volunteers, and innovators to share balanced insights on AI and the transformation of work. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep asking AI. You can access more free resources and subscribe to our newsletter at askai.org. That's askai.org.